Advisory to the Ghana Police Service is dated the 27th of September 2023 and is addressed to the Inspector General of Police, Ghana Police Service, Police Headquarters Accra, after DSN. Advisory on realization of freedom of assembly, processions and demonstrations by citizens under the Constitution of 1992. The introduction reads, on the 21st of September 2023, was widely reported in the media that protesters who had gathered around 37 bus stations to exercise their constitutional right to demonstrate were arrested, manhandled and subsequently detained at various police stations within Accra by the police. It was also reported that protesters at some point were denied access to their lawyers. The reason for the police response was that court processes to place an injunction on the process had been served on lawyers of the leadership of protesters and therefore deemed such assembly as unlawful. Freedom of assembly, otherwise known as right to protest or right to demonstrate, is a basic right vital to an individual's personal development and political consciousness and enhances participation in the conduct of public affairs in this country. The right by its nature also provides citizens with a tool to express their concerns and demand accountability from government. The right enables individuals to express themselves collectively to participate in shaping their societies. The right is of keen historic significance, and this was duly recognized by Amwasichi JSC in New Patriotic Party versus Inspector General of Police 1993 to 1994 2 Ghana Law Report page 459 and 5 to 509, when he contended as follows: if in the 19th century England, the opponents of child labor, had been prevented from stating their case, would its evil consequences have ever been recognized? The above recognition by the respected jurist underscores the critical importance of freedom of assembly in shaping public affairs. 2. Legal frameworks. The freedom of assembly is guaranteed under Chapter 5, specifically by Article 21(1)(d) of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. For the purpose of emphasis, Article 21(1)(d) of the 1992 Constitution stipulates that 1. All persons shall have the right to d. freedom of assembly, including freedom to take part in procession and demonstration. The International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, which Ghana ratified, also provides for the right to peaceful assembly under Article 21. It stipulates the right of peaceful assembly shall be recognized. Additionally, Article 11 of the Africa Charter on Human Rights and Human and People's Rights similarly indicates that every individual shall have the right to freely assemble with others. Explanatory notes. The Commission learns that the leadership of the protesters had given notice to the police several days back to facilitate discussions on the date, possible routes to use in order to ensure a problem-free protest. The basis for the police action, as the Commission understands, was that it had served some court processes on the lawyers of the leadership of the protesters and therefore considered any attempt to undertake the process as unlawful, hence giving rise to arrest and detention of protesters. The Commission sadly notes that the police response over the years against protesters have been disproportionate and leaves much to be desired. It is in this context that the Commission deems it appropriate as a national human rights institution with the mandate to promote and protect human rights under the Constitution and Shraj Act 1993 at 456 and its obligations under the Paris Principles to issue an advisory to relevant state actors on matters of human rights concern. While the right to demonstrate is recognized by the state as constitutionally guaranteed, the contention is in relation to how the right should be exercised against other competing legitimate interests such as public safety, national security, public health, the running of essential services, often cited by law enforcement officials to justify restriction of the right. It is important to indicate that the right in issue is a human and constitutional right, and therefore any limitation placed on the right must satisfy the threshold stipulated under human rights law. In the celebrated case of New Patriotic Party versus Inspector General of Police, 1993-1994, General Ghana Law Report, page 459 to 509, the Supreme Court defended the constitutional right to peaceful assembly by criticizing the unfettered power of the Minister for the Interior to grant or withdraw permits at will in relation to the constitutional right to demonstrate. The Apex Court further held that proposition clearly violated the enshrined provision of Article 21(1)(d) because by investing the minister or other authority with unfettered discretion to refuse his consent or permit, Section 7 of the NRCD 68 placed the assertion by the citizens of his constitutional right of assembly, procession, and demonstration at the mercy of the authorities. The court thus declared the practice as inconsistent with the letter and spirit of Article 21(1)(d) of the 1992 Constitution. While the NRCD 68 is no longer part of the existing law, the manner in which the Public Order Act 1994, Act 471, has been interpreted and enforced by the police and other relevant law enforcement agencies give cause for grave concern. For instance, under Section 1.1 of Act 471, a notification requirement appears to have increasingly been misconstrued as a requirement for protesters to achieve some consensus with law enforcement officers before they get the green light to assemble and demonstrate. Failure by protesters to achieve this consensus with the police have often compelled the police to approach the court through ex parte applications or applications of notice for injunction to restrain demonstrators. In the context of the recent happenings, the Commission understands that the approach adopted by the police was hugely informed by lack of consensus between the police and the demonstrators. Granted, that was the reason that did not permit the police to weaponize the Public Order Act on the eve of the demonstration to restrict demonstrators from exercising their constitutional right. When that approach failed, the police resorted to the arrest and detention of protesters. These developments, in the considered view of the Commission, are disturbing considering the nature of obligations imposed on the state in relation to the right, as well as the importance of the right to the democratic order. It is not in dispute that the freedom of assembly, a peaceful assembly, should, just like any other non-derogable right, is not absolute. It is subject to limitations necessary in a free and democratic society for the purposes of ensuring public safety, public health, defense, running of essential services, and other legitimate considerations. But these limitations have to be carefully considered or weighed against the protected right. In the Ghanaian context, the Commission observes that misrepresentation and misapplication of the Public Order Act 1994, Act 471, and other justification have had a chilling effect on the protected right to demonstrate that is problematic. The Human Rights Committee, the treaty with a body with the oversight mandate of the ICCPR, through its General Comment number 37, 2020, provides some useful insights for consideration by law enforcement officials in relation to the right under discussion. The committee stipulates that when restrictions become necessary, the onus is on the state authorities to justify the restriction, bearing in mind the requirement of legality, necessity, and proportionality under human rights law. The committee also stipulates that the imposition of any restriction must be guided by the objective of facilitating the right as opposed to placing unnecessary and disproportionate limitations on it. Restrictions must not be discriminatory, impair the essence of the right, or be aimed at discouraging participation in peaceful assemblies or undermining the purpose of the right. The committee also contended that any restriction imposed on this right must be necessary and proportionate in the context of a society based on democracy, rule of law, political pluralism, and human rights, as opposed to merely being reasonable and expedient. It is clear from the committee's position that circumstances may call for a restriction on the freedom of assembly, but those considerations must not place disproportionate or undue burden on the exercise of the right by individuals. Doing otherwise would constitute a violation of the freedom of assembly. Conclusion: the freedom to assemble is a right recognized under the 1992 Constitution and plethora of international human rights instruments to which Ghana is a state party. The right imposes a serious obligation on the Ghanaian state to respect and ensure its realization without unjustifiable restrictions. In light of the historical and political significance of this right to citizens, it therefore places a very high burden on the state actors, namely law enforcement officials, to ensure its manifestation of course with restrictions and circumstances may demand and extremely necessary in a democratic society. It is the hope of the Commission that this advisory would provide some useful guidance to relevant state actors on their obligations relative to this protected right while executing their constitutional and statutory duties. Recommendations. In light of the above analysis, the Commission strongly recommends attention to the following in order to forestall future occurrences. 1. The Ministry of Interior, Inspector General of Police, and National Security must be mindful of Ghana's human rights obligations towards its citizens. The appreciation of this obligation will inform decisions in striking a good balance between all legitimate competing interests. 2. Developing guidelines where none exists for managing protests which incorporates human rights standards for the use by law enforcement officials, particularly the police. 3. Refresher courses on human rights law and other relevant UN and AU standards governing the operations of law enforcement agencies. 4. In situations of deadlock between law enforcement and protesters, the decision to resort to the court to injunct the exercise of the rights must be done in a manner which affords protesters the opportunity to challenge the decision in the court of law. 5. Police and other law enforcement officials must endeavor to build rapport between them and protesters as citizens and not as troublemakers to achieve an incident-free protest. 6. Law enforcement agencies, in all their considerations, must facilitate the realization of the freedom of assembly and other respected and protected rights unless restrictions are reasonably necessary in a democratic society. This has been dated the 27th of September 2023 at the Old Parliament House, Accra, signed by Joseph Whittal. He's the Commissioner of Human Rights and Administrative Justice. So their observation, their conclusions, and their recommendations according to the things that we have signed on to. William, this is the English that the Strike Boss has written.
All the legalese
yes.
that I have heard paints just a simple picture, especially looking at the last demonstration that we had over the 3 days.
Right.
They wanted to occupy Flagstaff House. So the police will say, look, within 50 or 100 meters, you can come. There's a barricade. When you get to that point, leadership, 10 of you come. The president, his representative will be standing in the foyer of the Jubilee House. You come in, you deliver your whatever petition message, you go back and keep demonstrating. Simple. You want to occupy the Bank of Ghana, you come. So this is where I agree with the commission when they say they should sit down and agree on certain parameters.
They should set
so this
the
is
guidelines.
This is the building. The farthest that you can go for security reasons is within 100 meters radius.
Right.
Around the building, wherever you go, 100 meters. When you get there, our men will be there. Human shield, barricade, whatever you want to use. Then beyond that point, we need just 10 people, maximum 10. You can come inside there, armless, holding nothing. You come, Bank of Ghana officials, you take us inside to some, very cool area. Not come and stand on the street and take it.
To calm tensions.
Yes,
and
because if I
else.
see the 10 of us, our leaders entering, we've occupied. You've occupied
That's
the
right.
Bank of Ghana.
That's a representation.
You come and sit with us. It's a democratic dispensation. We are all citizens of the republic. We are not
Right.
troublemakers.
Right.
So you, even if it's necessary, by the time we get there, some tea and things, and some coffee and some
with
cocoa
biscuit or without biscuit.
with biscuits.
Okay.
Because that's not the Electoral Commission's strong room. So they should give biscuit. I mean, this is it. Then we know that we are in a civilized society. You present the thing, and then you make your demands, you chit chat, and then you go.
Yeah.
Even there at that meeting, some useful ideas could just come up.
You are asking the governor of the Bank of Ghana to go, and you want him to serve you tea.
It is not the governor of the Bank of Ghana's money. The tea is not for him. It is for the Republic of Ghana. You know,
I get it. there.
Exactly.
The
So
money is not
he-
his.
Yes.
So it is not.
But
within
even
his
if they
right to tell
sentence
us-
you to death,
yeah.
before they kill you, they ask you for the biggest meal you want, your choice. They give it to
Your
you.
last
So,
meal.
Yes.
Your last supper.
You that you are going to die, and that food is provided by the state. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you are demonstrating and the state is providing, I'm not saying that should happen. I'm just painting a very nice picture so that demonstrations don't become weaponized, don't become troublesome, if you like, for the want of a better word, and so on and so forth. Let's just be civil about this.
But that's how Shraj puts it. that
Exactly. The picture is so clear
it
in
should
the
not
way
be,
they
should not be presented as if we are at each other's
No.
neck and
and I'm happy that the Greater Accra Regional Police Commander, if what I read is what it is, has been queried to explain why there were some touches. Because
Right.
look, in law, assault can be in thought and it can be in a criminal perspective. If you touch somebody without his permission and the intention to harm him, you have assaulted the person. If you even make a move and apprehend that if you will harm me and the intention is established in thought, I can sue you. So these are some of the things that when I sit here, some of the things that the citizens of the Republic are also enforcing and enjoying and practicing. So then everybody gets up and people's rights are being thrown in the dustbin every day.
I'm wondering why the Inspector General of Police had to wait for a report before taking an action, because the thing was happening just what.
But doing that, where was he?
Yes.
Yeah, I read that he was somewhere chilling at some.
I think on Wednesday he was at the Rhythms on the Runway.
The man was
Kofi
chilling.
Otridako's
So
Rhythm
the
on the
night before he
Runway.
was chilling, so he
So
forgot that there
he
was a
slept- he
demonstration.
slept there.
The day after.
But then if you forgot that there was a demonstration, I mean, later in the day,
Oh, what's that?
he would have heard. I mean, sometimes you see, we invite these things upon ourselves. The thing has happened. You are aware of the thing. You are asking for a report to be brought. Then the people will start raising questions. That Joe, we need you. Bow.
That is something about this IGP that I find interesting. In one breath, he appears like that, nice.
Yeah.
Then you see, then his
He
people
took-
will
he
do
took you one.
something. Then, all to the point that now he's even before the parliamentary probe. The kind of man we know. He shouldn't be there.
No.
Because the picture he painted was that he was a man, a father for all,
Yeah.
and he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Although he won't give us audience as media, he likes publicity.
No,
and
but,
so on
but
and
he
so.
brings bloggers to his office.
That's what I'm saying.
So
So,
why-
he's confusing
So
us.
why would you give traditional media
You
the
know,
opportunity to speak to you?
and
But,
everything.
but you bring bloggers.
When he goes out and sees children, you chat with them,
And
carry
take-
them,
take
take
photos.
pictures, and then when you want to go and ask him questions, he
Say,
said,
no, don't come and ask me.
So IGP,
Also, do
he
something.
should read the document and then act
I
accordingly.
hope
because
they don't fight back. Actually,
there's nothing to fight back. I've read the document. You also
Yeah,
read it.
yeah.
Everything is so clear.
and then we had to take our time to read it to our audience because
Yes.
we want them to also be informed
Yes.
about the
And
things that we know.
it will be on our social media platforms,
Yeah,
so they should
yeah.
check and on our website 3news.com.
Yeah.
And you see some of these things, and I like the way the commission has gone about it. He has gone local per the constitution. He has tagged the act. He has gone to UN. He has gone to AU. So wherever you go, the
He's
citizen
there.
is covered.
He's there, yeah.
You know, what I
We
mean,
have
these are
signed
so
on to those
exactly.
things.
These are and the constitution is clear on the matter, and the constitution starts we the people. No, they didn't say the government of the day decides that. No, I say we the people.
We the people.
You see,
Yeah, I empower.
yes. So they should please give us some space to demonstrate, because if, as I say, the human being is like a river. If you block all other areas, we get corrupted and
We'll find
we
a way.
misbehave.
Yeah.
It's a natural course.
If you allow, I mean, see,
Just allow the people to demonstrate. That's it.
Can you imagine if, like we saw in the United States, I can't breathe.
Yes,
the Floyd demonstration,
Yes,
where the
yes.
police themselves joined the demonstration. I mean, it was calm. It was peaceful. They were dancing with them and all of that. I wait for a day where our police will be bold enough to join the citizens in a peaceful demonstration or a walk of a sort. We are all looking for better conditions of service.
We are fighting for you.
We are fighting for you.
Hey, if you go
We
to
are fighting for
Master,
you.
if you go to
You are sleeping in a single room with
your
4
fridge
children
outside.
and your wife with a deep freezer. Your fridge is outside. Your kitchen is outside.
And your children are sleeping in the space.
Yes.
How do you even get space to two?
One or two.
How do you get space to two? You see, that's why they say barracks boys are like this, barracks girls are like this. We suffer. You suffered and suffered it.
Yes.
Your father is a staff sergeant, bro, and they'll give you one chamber and hall.
Small room.
Then they say they'll put you in the hall.
Yeah.
That's why people have never slept in the hall
They've
before.
never slept
We've slept in the hall before. They'll push the center table and lay the blanket.
Lay the mat for you.
In the night, whatever happens, you are all inside.
You sleep.
And these are what the police and the police officers are going through.
Yes.
We are fighting for you to
And
say
then
no.
you say, why? Why are we fighting for you? Meanwhile, you come and meet us on the side and tell us to fight for you.
Usika seme nkoyi ana quick credit sia say sika pe enna fom intina ya ba say be church wo yam bosia bon